Hi, this is Bruce Eimer here, and I'd like to talk to you briefly today about a topic that is very, very dear to my heart, and that is hypnosis. But I'd like to talk to you about how the HypnoThoughts Live organization has made a contribution to the field of hypnosis that will be enduring, that is uniquely valuable, and that is indescribably amazing. Hypnosis has been around for thousands of years. The directed use of imagination, before it was ever called hypnosis, was employed for healing in the Egyptian sleep temples and the Greek sleep temples. Hypnosis in the form of magic was employed by people, magicians, in the Middle Ages. Forms of hypnosis or suggestion and the directed use of imagination have been used in all cultures: Native, American, African, Aboriginal, witch doctors, for thousands of years. In the 18th century, the late 1700s, the Viennese physician Franz Anton Mesmer developed his theories and his practice of mesmerism. It was very effective with his many growing followers, and he was able to induce many mesmeric cures using the power of his personality and the use of suggestion, which was the directed use of imagination. However, unfortunately, Dr. Mesmer was discredited by a commission that was formed by the King of France to investigate the claims made about mesmeric cures. Ironically, this commission was headed by our own Ben Franklin, who declared Mesmer to be a huckster because he found no scientific evidence to support Mesmer's theories of animal magnetism, despite Franklin concluding that the actual phenomena worked, and Franklin attributed it to the directed use of the imagination. In the 1840s, a new form of medical hypnosis was pioneered by a Scottish physician by the name of James Braid. It is from Dr. Braid and his writings and practice that we have the development of the famous swinging pocket watch, because Dr. Braid's practice was to induce hypnosis through the use of focused concentration and absorption. A student or a contemporary of Dr. Braid was a Dr. James Esdale, an English surgeon who performed thousands of surgeries in India. Without the use of any form of chemical anesthesia, he used hypnosis as the sole form of surgical anesthesia. His use of hypnosis as the sole form of surgical anesthesia greatly reduced the frequency of mortalities from surgery, which previously had really not used any other form of anesthesia other than, I suppose, alcohol or some form of opium. Freud's mentors, contemporaries and earlier mentors who were physicians in Western Europe, further utilized Braid's theories and methods to successfully treat various types of neuropsychological syndromes or neurological conditions that had psychiatric bases. Freud himself took up the practice of hypnosis in treating some of his patients, but he became scared because he felt that the use of hypnosis and the authoritarian way in which he applied it could cause the eruption of a very dire form of the erotic transference. And he had several instances where women who he had hypnotized using authoritarian methods got up out of trance and just threw their arms around him, and this understandably freaked him out. Freud actually was also paranoid, so he abandoned the use of hypnosis, and this paved the way for Freud developing his theories and techniques of psychoanalysis, especially the technique of free association, which arguably is a form of hypnosis or trance induction. Okay, because Freud had such a significant influence in the development of American and European psychiatry at the turn of the 19th century, the applications of hypnosis clinically kind of went away for a while, and hypnosis, as we commonly think about it, or as the public thinks about it, where people are, induced to do silly things or to do things that they normally wouldn't do, that was the result of the fact that hypnosis became popular in stage hypnosis at carnivals, at circuses, and so stage hypnosis was really in vogue at the turn of the 19th century and the early part of the 20th century. And the continuation of investigations in hypnosis was pretty much relegated to psychological researchers in ivory tower universities. The clinical applications of hypnosis and clinical research with hypnosis really was kind of dormant until Milton Erickson, an innovative psychiatrist that everybody has heard of, began to write about his applications of hypnosis, which were very creative and innovative in treating both psychiatric and medical patients. Various contemporaries of Milton Erickson who were also very innovative were men such as Dr. David Cheek, who was an OBGYN, who, along with a so-called lay hypnotist, Leslie Leckrone, pioneered the use of various idiomotor techniques in exploratory hypnoanalytic approaches to curing treatment-resistant medical conditions with psychosomatic bases. And Milton Erickson founded or co-founded the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis in the 1950s, and he was also influential in the acceptance by the AMA, I think it was 1958, of hypnosis as a legitimate ancillary medical modality. Arguably, Milton Erickson could be considered the founder of modern hypnosis. Ericksonian approaches incorporate both classical methods as well as more innovative, informal conversational techniques. And students of Erickson were very brilliant. Some of them developed their own theories. Of course, two people that are brilliant minds who studied Erickson's work, especially the deep structure of his work, were Richard Bandler and John Grinder, and in collaboration they developed NLP based on their study of the deep structure of Milton Erickson's work. And so we're now talking about the 1970s, and Milton Erickson died I think it was 1980 or 1981. And a lot of research in university settings was being done, and things were being published regarding the effectiveness of hypnosis in treating various conditions, as well as theories that were being investigated as to the mechanisms of hypnosis, why hypnosis worked, and what is hypnosis actually. There's been a lot of disagreement among academics about the nature of hypnosis and the definition, in fact, of hypnosis. Now, very interesting development here. So the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis and another parallel society that was developed more for academic researchers, which was called, and is still in existence, of course, the Society for Clinical and Experimental Hypnosis. Those societies became very exclusive and snobbish, and they decided in their charters and in their ethical codes to exclude hypnotists or hypnotherapists that weren't licensed health professionals or licensed mental health professionals with advanced degrees. And so they disparaged people that were professional hypnotherapists, people that were doing very innovative work, people such, of course, as David Ellman and other great innovators, because they weren't physicians or psychologists. In fact, up until recently, the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis refused to admit to membership master's level social workers and nurses as well. Now they do. As a result of this discrimination, this stupidity and narrow-mindedness, the development of hypnosis had been stunted. And many of the people that are members of the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis and the Society for Clinical and Experimental Hypnosis are very limited in their scope of investigations because they're not willing to take a look at the work of very creative and innovative practitioners of hypnosis that they consider to be lay hypnotists. If you look at the medical psychoanalytic societies that developed when Freud's work became very popular, even they admitted into membership non-physicians, whom they called lay analysts. And they allowed lay analysts to take classes, become certified, and even teach, and of course practice. So I am a licensed clinical psychologist, and I was trained as an educational psychologist. Then I retrained in clinical psychology, and I became a member of the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis, the Society of Clinical Experimental Hypnosis, and then I was elected fellow of ASCH. But the point is, I was always yelled at and rebuked for associating with what were called lay hypnotists because it was against the so-called ethical code, and people were expelled from membership from ASH or SESH if they studied with or taught lay hypnotists. Yet, many very important and influential members of these organizations learned a lot of great stuff from lay hypnotists such as Harry Aarons and Gil Boyne, and they never would admit it publicly. So, very hypocritical. So, in the turn of the century, I guess, somewhere around 2010 maybe, I stopped renewing my membership in ASH and also in SESH. And somewhere around 2011, I met my good friend and colleague Roy Hunter at a National Guild meeting, and subsequently I attended the meeting of IMDHA, the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association in Daytona Beach. I think it was 2011 or 2012. I was invited to give a keynote address on building bridges at the time, and I was hooked. I joined IMDHA, and I made great friends, and I just, that was it. And I began to affiliate and learn from great people, and my practice as a hypnotherapist flourished. And then I discovered hypnothoughts. I had heard about it when I was at the National Guild in 2011 up in Massachusetts, and I didn't know what it was, but as I became more and more familiar after meeting Scott Sandland at IMDHA in Daytona Beach, who impressed me greatly, I began to investigate it, go on the forum, mostly as an observer, and I went to my first Hypnothoughts Live, I think their second summer. I can't even remember now, I think it was like 2015, and I became hooked. I have the greatest respect for Scott Sandland and Richard Clark and their colleagues, who are the founders of HypnoThoughts. And they have brought hypnosis into the 21st century. And they are the innovators in the evolution of hypnosis. And so I am very, very proud to be part of this evolution or revolution. And I completely support and I'm totally dedicated to the development and success of the HypnoThoughts enterprise, both the forum and the annual meetings and offshoot trainings. I mean, the so-called licensed professionals of the stuffy ASCH or ASH and SESH are missing out on people that are geniuses in the practice and the teaching and development of new techniques in hypnosis. There are just masters that I have sat at their feet and learned at these meetings at HypnoThoughts that are key faculty members. I can never choose which workshop to attend, and when I teach my workshop, I'm usually lamenting the fact that I can't take somebody else's workshop. Now, this brings me to say to you a couple of things. First of all, I highly respect Scott Sandland and Richard Clark because they have such integrity, they're fair-minded, and they've taught me a lot of things. They've been kind to me. They are so dedicated, so honest about their passion for this thing, I'll say, of ours. And this brings me to talk about what I'm going to be doing at HypnoThoughts Live in just about a week from now in Las Vegas, HypnoThoughts Live 2019. I'm going to be teaching my 2-day intensive workshop on pain control hypnosis for the practitioner. It's my 2-day pain control hypnosis practitioner certification course. It's the basic course, the level 1. And I've been developing the protocols and the system that I now use with clients, the system of pain control hypnosis, for many, many years. I've been practicing pain control hypnosis, doing hypnotic pain control for over 30 years. And I have chronic pain myself. I worked in a very busy hospital-based outpatient pain clinic for 7.5 years. I've written several books on pain control hypnosis, hypnotic pain relief, and articles and chapters and things of that nature. But the interesting thing is that I'm very passionate about this. And the reason I'm very passionate about it is because it works. And I believe that it is absolutely true to say that I've saved a number of people's lives who were on the verge of suicide because they were such pain sufferers. And hypnosis was the vehicle, was the tool. Being a chronic pain person myself, having a history of spinal issues that have led to several surgical procedures and ongoing chronic back and leg pain, as well as living with fibromyalgia, I have used hypnosis, self-hypnosis, to basically keep myself sane and to help myself to stay functional. I've never taken opioids. I've tried them, but it's not the answer for me. And I believe that the practice of hypnosis and the development of hypnosis into the 21st century, therein lies the answer to the opioid crisis. Anyway, I will conclude by telling you something that's very ironic. Richard Clark had said to me, I don't know, about 2 months ago, that I seemed very avid about marketing for my pain control hypnosis practitioner workshop, and he told me I kind of was starting to market very late, and that's true. And the reason is because I have been hobbled by the onset of an autoimmune condition, an autoimmune disorder called polymyalgia rheumatica. That is not fibromyalgia. It's an autoimmune condition that causes widespread stiffness and severe pain in the major joints of the body: neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips, thighs. And staying sane while going to rheumatologists who have been putting me on various medication cocktails of steroids has been a real challenge. And I must tell you that if it were not for my practice of self-hypnosis, I don't know if I'd be talking to you right now. But it's a very, very painful condition. It's a dilemma because steroids are destructive on the body, but I'm not going to give up the relief that they give me so that I can feel human. And I'm using them along with hypnosis with the hope that I'll be able to taper off the steroids and continue to do my self-hypnosis so that I am out of pain and functional. I'll keep you posted on my website, paincontrolhypnosis.com, my blog, and I will be teaching in my 2-day intensive pain control practitioner course, Pain Control Hypnosis Practitioner course at HT Live, the things that I've discovered that have worked for me to help me to control the pain of PMR or polymyalgia rheumatica and to remain functional. And I will be treating for free. I've sent out this message throughout the internet. Any patients, whether it's online through Zoom or one-on-one in-person live sessions, I will be treating for free using my techniques of pain control hypnosis, anyone that has PMR. Okay, so with that said, hope to see you at the conference. Sorry for being a late comer as far as presenting my material. I've been pretty avid about doing it now over the last several months. I've, I guess, been on here pretty regularly. Hope I'm not boring anybody. And I hope that this conversation that I've presented is of interest and you understand that we are at the forefront of the evolution of hypnosis. We are fortunate, and I am so grateful to be part of this thing with HypnoThoughts Live. I look forward to seeing many of my friends and acquaintances and colleagues in Las Vegas in a week or so. And I hope that, since there are still spaces available, that people decide to join me for my 2-day pain control hypnosis practitioner's course. I promise you it'll be worthwhile. You'll learn a lot. You'll take home a lot of techniques, knowledge, concepts, as well as some really good treatment manuals, my book, Hypnotize Yourself Out of Pain, and it'll be a worthwhile experience. Thank you.